Hey y'all, it's Amanda, and this is video number 3 of my beginner gardening series. So today we're going to be doing Budget Gardening 101, where to spend and where to save. So if you're a beginner gardener or seasoned gardener as well, gardening can drain your wallet very quickly unless you garden with intention. I gotta say, gardening's gotta be one of the most expensive hobbies that you can have. It doesn't seem like it would be, right? But really, you can fall into a massive trap and spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars in a heartbeat. So making sure you're intentional about how you're budgeting and how you're spending your money is extremely important. So today we're going to be talking about 6 different things. We're going to be talking about where to spend your money, where to save on plants, return on investment for seeds, all about tools and buying tools, decor for the garden, and building in phases. And all of these amount to being really smart about your budget for gardening. So let's get started with number 1. Spend all of your money, or some of your money, spend your money on soil health. Literally the most important thing that you can do for your garden and the best way you can get yourself set up for success. Healthy soil grows healthy plants. You can spend all you want on tons of beautiful, gorgeous plants, and if you put them in cruddy soil, they're all going to die. They're not going to make it. You're not going to be successful. So let's think about it in this way. You want to invest in compost and organic matter that you can tuck into your gardens and work into your gardens. And compost, it seems silly to spend money on something like that. And later on in your gardening career, you can have your own compost pile and you can create your own compost. But in the beginning, it is worth it to get a few bags of compost, spread a 1 to 2 inch layer of compost across the top of your gardens before you start planting in them. So why would you invest in compost or organic matter? A few different things. The compost holds moisture, which is really great for watering your plants, especially if you're in really hot areas like myself. The compost also feeds the roots with nutrients, which makes for bigger, better, more pretty plants. And it also reduces fertilizer needs. A lot of people get compost and fertilizer mixed up. They are 2 different things. So starting with compost in your garden and then perhaps adding a granular organic fertilizer at a later point totally works. But in the beginning, you really want to focus on the compost or organic matter. You can improve your soil over time, and you can improve it over multiple years, but it is still very important to start in a smaller area of your garden, add some compost, organic matter, and start trying to build it up. You cannot fix plants that don't have good soil. Okay, number 2 on my Budget Gardening 101, save on plants, but buy smart. So not every plant needs to be perfect at the store. However, there are a few things you need to look for. One of the big things to focus on is you're going to see plant sales and you're going to see clearance plants. So we want to chat about that. So when you're looking at plants that are on sale or clearance plants, there's a few different things that you want to look for. Truthfully, you're going to look for this on every single plant, no matter its price. You want to look for firm stems. Nice firm stems, nothing mushy, brown looking, that looks moldy, anything like that. Nice firm stems. You want to focus on healthy new growth on the plant. You can have this big, beautiful plant, but those blooms could have been around for a couple of weeks. And maybe the plant, everything at the top is all pretty, but everything underneath is, brown and brittle and not looking good. You're looking for healthy new growth. You're looking for little sprouts of new leaves coming up or new buds forming on the plant. You also want to make sure that there are no pests on the plant. The easiest way to do that is to look before you touch on a plant. As soon as you pick up a plant, any pests that are there most likely will scatter and go hide. So when you approach a plant, if it's a plant that you're interested in, take a moment to get down close and check out the soil. See if you see any insects moving. See if you see anything under the leaves. Don't touch it before you've had the opportunity to observe it first. So things you want to skip when you are buying sale plants, clearance plants, or any plants for that matter, plants that are root bound. It is okay to lift out a plant out of its container. Lift it out, look at all the roots. If they look nice and healthy and white, great. If they seem like it's root bound and all of the soil is super compacted because the roots have just overgrown so much, that might not be the best choice for you. You also want to look for yellowing on the leaves to see if the plant is in distress or if it's had any struggle. Typically, if a plant has gone through kind of stress, it's not going to be as healthy. It's going to be more of a weaker plant. So you want to make sure that you're getting a nice, strong, healthy plant for your investment. Now, clearance plants, they can recover, but they require maintenance. So it's not necessarily something that I suggest for beginner gardeners. Typically, for beginner gardeners, I suggest investing in smaller start plants. Don't invest in the big giant things to get started with. Start with some smaller plants that can grow over the years for you. It's much more cost effective, and you're also going to learn more about that plant as it matures in your garden. All right, number 3 on my list, seeds equal the best return on investment. So seeds are the best return on investment in the gardening world, hands down. And if you want to have a lot of beautiful cut flowers, or you want veggies or something along those lines, starting this from seed is actually pretty easy and extremely cost effective. So seed packets cost a wide range of pricing depending on who you're buying it from, how many seeds are in it, and what kind of variety of plant it is. Honestly, most seed packets are between the $3 to $5 range, and typically you're going to be able to get dozens of plants from one $3 to $5 seed packet. Especially for things like flowers, lettuce, veggies, those typically have a ton of seeds in the seed packet, and you get a lot of bang for your buck. Tons of seeds for a small price. Now there's a trade-off. For having these less expensive seeds and these less expensive plants, you're trading off time and care. So if you're willing to put in the time and the care, you can have a big, luscious, gorgeous garden that looks very, very expensive for a small amount of money. Seeds is really the way that I built up my garden. It allowed me to get a lot of plants that I would not necessarily be able to afford on a yearly basis. Starting from seeds is also giving me options of lots of new varieties and different plants to try that aren't necessarily readily available at my local nursery. And if you're someone who wants to start from seed, we are going to talk more about that. I think actually number 4, the beginner gardening, is how to decide what seeds to start and when. So we are going to continue talking about the seed process, and I do have a whole seed starting series of tons of different types of seeds I've started that you're welcome to check out if you're interested. Okay, number 4 on the Budget Gardening 101 list is tools. Buy quality and buy very few of them. A few good tools beat a shed full of gadgets any day. You really don't need that many tools to get started as a gardener. You don't need all the fancy gadgets. You can start super basic. There are a few must-haves that you're going to need. You're going to need a good quality set of pruners. Pruners are going to be nice and sharp. You're going to be able to prune, cut, and do different things with them. You're also going to need a trowel, and that is just for digging and planting seeds and all kinds of little odd jobs. And then a set of gloves. Now, if you had talked to me 4 years ago, I would have told you, no, you don't need gloves. You need gloves. I gotta say, I have run into recently lots of infections on my fingernail beds because I put my hands straight into soil. And since I have started wearing gloves the last year and a half, I have stopped having any of those infections on my fingers, which is really great. So trust me, get yourself gloves. They feel weird in the beginning, just push yourself past it. And that is coming from a seasoned gardener who went without gloves for over a decade. Now, there are some tools that you can borrow and rent. You don't have to purchase them. Big tools, like if you need a sod cutter, if you need a tiller, things like that, you can typically get from your home improvement store. You can rent it, or check with your neighbors. You might have a neighbor who has it and you can borrow it and save yourself hundreds of dollars. You don't have to own your own big tools, all right? Trust me, you can share, you can rent. Plus, like me, I just don't even have room to store big tools like that. So keep that in mind before you invest a ton of money in something like that. You can also thrift quite a few things for your garden tools. You can go to garage sales, you can go to thrift sales, you can get on Facebook Marketplace and find several of these buckets. Buckets are really great for transporting soil, compost, cut flowers, water, all different things like that. No need to go buy them new. You can find them very cheap somewhere else. Pots and containers. I get most of my pots and containers from Facebook Marketplace. I rarely buy full price ones. And truthfully, the ones I get from Facebook Marketplace are way higher quality than what I would be able to afford at my local nursery. And then finally, things like trellis. Trellis tend to be pretty pricey. I really like the iron ones that look all vintage and super cool like that. And those are expensive. So I actually buy most of those from places like garage sales and Facebook Marketplace. Much less expensive. Most of them are truly vintage. And I get some really unique pieces that aren't readily available anymore. Basically with tools, you need to start simply with it. And you can build over time. When it really comes down to it, there's only very few tools that I use on a weekly basis within my garden. And it really is the gloves, the pruner, and some kind of trowel situation. That's it. I probably could get away with only those 3 tools and still have tons of success within my garden. Okay, number 5 on the Budget Gardening 101 list, decor can be free. So style doesn't have to be store-bought. Decorating my garden is something I love to do, and my style has definitely grown and changed over the years. But decorating a garden, there's something really fun and whimsical about it, and it brings a lot of joy to me in the garden, seeing these little decorations nestled in among the flowers that I've grown that year. So when thinking about garden decor, think first, repurpose, repurpose, repurpose. There might be several things within your own garage or house that you can actually utilize beautifully as decor within your garden. Think of old dishes. Old dishes make for really beautiful plant markers. You can push the dish into the ground and write the name of the plant on it. Absolutely beautiful. They work great for saucers for underneath containers, which is very cool. Baskets. Baskets are really great for storing your tools. You can also line them and utilize them as containers, which is super cool. I like to use figurines to make garden stakes. I mean, there's so many cool things that you can do for garden decor. I love to thrift metal pieces, metal decor pieces that, used to be all the rage in the 90s when that whole Tuscan style was going through. Those metal decor pieces that people used to hang inside on their walls look great outside in your garden as well. Tons of different ways to utilize decor. And truthfully, some of the most unusual things that you wouldn't even think about decor work the best outside for the garden. Now, when you're looking at these different things to utilize for decor, definitely consider function first. Is it going to last outside? Most of them will. Baskets, they'll last 1 or 2 years, but if you're picking them up from a thrift store on Facebook Marketplace, they most likely were going to end up in the trash anyway. So getting them and utilizing them for several years, that'll be great before they hit the compost pile. Anything that you're going to utilize for containers, make sure they have drainage holes in it. You can add your own drainage holes, so definitely keep that in mind. I love finding old tin buckets or tubs, metal buckets, on Facebook Marketplace, garage sales, thrift stores, and punching a couple of holes in them and turning them into containers. And when you're approaching gardening decor on a budget, through a budget eye, really consider that personality tends to be greater than perfection. So an item does not have to be perfect to make it out into your garden, especially as a beginner gardener. You're just getting started. So start with a few things that are inexpensive and that you can experiment with and try out. And if you don't end up liking them, you can just turn around and sell them and reutilize that money elsewhere in your garden. Okay, and number 6 on the Budget Gardening 101 list, the very last thing, build in phases. This is incredibly important. Gardens grow best when they grow with you. It is, in my opinion, not really a thing to create a whole garden at once. There's so much involved, and a garden really doesn't reach its peak for several years. So with that, keep it in mind, you don't have to put everything out in your garden right now. You don't have to do your entire space. You can build over time. You can work section by section by section. And that is what I have done with my current garden, or truthfully, all of my gardens and all my past homes. I always start with a single bed and I build from there. Truthfully, my back garden used to have nothing. There used to be not one bed, nothing in the backyard until I dug that first one. And truthfully, even digging that very first bed, I didn't even buy a lining for it or an edging for it. I just got out there with a shovel, dug out the grass, added some compost, and started planting. Very, very simple. So think about this in terms of years. Year one, you need to learn about your space. Start some simple gardening, learn about the sun, the water, how everything works within that space. Year two, you can add structure to that space. Trellis, more established beds, starting to add garden decor. And year three, you can begin to refine. That's where you're adding plants that, might be a little bit more mature. You're moving things around. You're putting in things like pathways, things along those lines. But doing it little by little really works better for a beginner gardener. Doing it all at once almost always leads to mistakes because you don't have a true understanding of your space and what you can do within it yet. Specifically, things like quality of soil, drainage, sun exposure. A lot of that stuff can't be really understood until you've studied the space for multiple years. And I've definitely run into that mistake, especially in my backyard garden, putting in beds in an area that I didn't realize there was a drainage issue and then having to redo that whole area. Trust me, you do not want to redo a portion of your garden that you've built up. So budget gardening isn't about cutting corners at all. So keep that in mind. It's about putting your money where it matters most. Most importantly, soil health. Put your money in soil health. Start with seeds, but focus on soil health. Then you're going to have something really beautiful to build over the years to come, Got messed up on that. All right, y'all, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, really talking about budget gardening. There is a lot involved in the cost of gardening. You're going to see tons of stuff online that are going to make you think you need something. You don't necessarily need all of the things, all of the gadgets, all of the trendy flowers, all of the trendy plants. You can build little by little. You can give yourself little rewards. Have a successful spring and be like, okay, I did great. I'm going to invest in a couple of shrubs and plant them out in the fall. Give yourself a little bit of time. Allow yourself to write it down. Look at your plan, explore, bring your ideas all together and pick which ones are going to work best for you. And then once you know where you want to go, do a small section at a time, build over time. Okay, for all of you seasoned gardeners who are also watching this video, drop comments below letting us know what your best budget savers are for gardening. Let all these beginner gardeners know where they can save money and where they should spend their money. Super important. I did want to also throw in a note that we are going to be talking later on about bare root plants later on in this series. We're going to talk about why those are very cost effective than buying full grown plants. And we're also going to talk about how to start bare root plants. And that is something you're going to see starting to pop up in the stores in February typically. And so I did want to give you, that was something that I was really nervous about as a beginner years ago. And now that I've been doing it for, 8 or 9 years, starting bare roots, it's been a game changer. It's also allowed me to grow plants faster than if I was starting them from seed, but still those bare roots are far less expensive than buying full grown plants from the nursery. So we will be covering bare roots in the future. Okay, hope you guys are enjoying the beginner gardening series. The next video that's going to be coming up is video number 4, how to decide what seeds to start and when. So we'll be deep diving in that. Remember, for the beginner gardening series, I am trying to put out 2 videos a week starting the first week in January. And there's a total of 14. So we should be wrapping up, I guess, mid to late February, which would be super exciting. So I hope you guys are enjoying the series. If you're like me and you are on a gardening journey and you would like to do that with some gardening friends, be sure to check out my Patreon community. The link is in the video description below. It's just a great group of people who like to talk about gardening. It's lovely. You can join on the free tier and get a little bit of access, or you can join as a certified mad gardener and get all of the access. And when you get all of the access, you get access to lives, exclusive videos, photo sharing, group chats, and direct messaging to me. All right, you all, as always, she's a mad gardener or a decorator or anything else that she wants to be. Thanks, y'all.